Welcome back to the Elle Sera podcast. And today I've got Joel Williams from ChaChing. ChaChing is an exciting new tech platform. We're going to hear all about it. Hi, Joel.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I first came across you. I listened to you talk about ChaChing at D2C Live. For anyone who doesn't know what D2C Live is, it's direct-to-consumer live. It's kind of a brand stroke tech partner conference where tech brands and brands like Elle Sera come together to, talk shop, basically, talk about what's going on in the market. And you were one of the chats that I remembered. There was two that stuck out and that I told other people about.
Great news.
Yeah. So why don't you tell the audience what ChaChing is and what it does?
Yeah, awesome. ChaChing is an out-and-out performance channel that allows brands and advertisers to purchase on a CPA basis. So we don't charge for clicks, we don't charge for impressions, we only charge for completed orders. And in the event of a return, we give the full cost per acquisition, which is a CPA, which is an industry acronym, which I've been told not to say. We give the full CPA back to the advertiser. What that means is that there's no ad wastage. If we look at the industry average for online sales, around 16% of products are returned, and therefore ChaChing, prevents the need for that ad wastage. How we essentially kind of do this is we essentially give 90% of that cost per acquisition back to the consumer, and we retain 10% to run our business. And a large part of our marketing at the moment is just making the consumer aware that, between 20% and 40% of any transaction online is given to some players like Google, Amazon, and Facebook.
I will just tell you from brand side where I'm at with that. So I actually spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I just don't think that our customers understand how much I spend on ads, right? And that I'm not even profitable on first purchase. I used to be, I'm not anymore because everything's gone driven up. So I think my cost per acquisition now, so my cost of acquiring a new customer is around about £66.
Really?
My product is 50, and that's that's what I sell it for. And obviously that's not taking into account, the cost of the product. So we've got our £66 cost per acquisition. Then I've obviously got the product, staffing costs, getting it to customer, so it's high. And I always feel like if you want to support a small brand, kind of engage with them, sign up to their email list, sign up to, follow them on social media, purchase from them direct, stop giving money to big tech. And I just don't think consumers are aware. Like, let's say we go and I type in Nike trainers or whatever, and I'm guilty of doing this myself, and then I go on JD Sports and buy a pair of like Nike trainers. So you're saying like 20 to 40% of that sale will be to Google.
Yeah, that'll be given directly to big tech, right? So what ChaChing is doing is making the consumer aware that money exists is probably the first KPI that we have.
Yeah. Sorry for anyone who's listening to KPI. Key performance.
Sorry, yeah. I've come from London, obviously. Obviously, there's some
key performance indicators.
Key performance I didn't even know it standard for that. I think the primary kind of key performance indicator for us will be making the consumer aware that this money exists, and then secondary will be, allowing the brand to purchase on that kind of cost per acquisition basis, meaning that they can have full control over profitability. If you want to have a more profitable campaign using ChaChing, maybe put a lower cost per acquisition than you're getting on Google, Amazon, or Facebook, or probably TikTok as well, which we'll come on to in a bit.
So like for me, let's take me as an example, and you're here now, so why not? Yeah. So, okay, so I, in a perfect world, £30 cost per acquisition is my max.
Yeah.
If we've got it down to 15, we've swum the fucking channel, right? Yeah. Okay. And I'm like, spend more. Great. But it's only ever been there a couple of times.
Yeah.
So it's high. So, but I think it's 30 is benchmark, and that's where it should be at. At the moment, it's double that.
And how often does that fluctuate for you at the moment?
At the moment, it's a joke.
Yeah.
There has been a bit of volatility in terms of I've changed marketing partners. So they're kind of relearning. But then, there's all different kind of strategies in the back end so we test a lot of different creative to see, we test about 30 pieces of creative a month.
Yeah.
that then creates a bigger cost per acquisition because we don't know what works, and we need to spend enough on every bit of creative to try and see what works.
Yeah.
So that drives up inefficient spending. Sometimes I look at it from brand side and go, well, I know that that's not going to work, that's not going to work, that's not going to work, because that's not inspiring me, and I'm the one who's founded this brand, and I think I know what my customer wants. So why don't we just chop that out? And they tell me, no, that's not the way we do it, and whatever. So it's a bit of a battle sometimes with the creative team and the marketing team.
Always is.
Yeah. And also I'm a bit like, sorry, why do we have to spend this amount? And they tell me that's how the algorithm works on Meta. And I am just a bit like, I know I'm exhausted with spending the amount of money. I mean, and I'll tell people I spend £40,000 a month on ads.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, isn't it? And I mean, if you could give 40,000 back to your existing customers, would you prefer to do that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And obviously you've come onto ChaChing, you're kind of looking to get live on there. What do you think about kind of that kind of whole angle as a business, really?
It's kind of what comes first, chicken or the egg. So I absolutely love it. I love the platform. I think it could really work. There are similar platforms out there. We should say that. So what's the difference between like WeShop? Now, a lot of people I know use WeShop.
Yeah.
And they post about that on their social media, like, oh, I'm glad I bought this through WeShop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the main difference is, ChaChing doesn't discount any products. That's one of the first points, right? So a user goes onto the ChaChing app, they search for, to your point earlier, a white pair of trainers. Yeah. They might see a Nike product, an Adidas product, and a Puma product. What then happens is they go directly to Nike's website and they pay in full. So nothing is ever discounted on ChaChing. Everything is always paid in full. Now, once you pay in full on the website of the brand, within 30 seconds, that money is given directly back to the consumer.
So the consumer gets a portion of that back.
The consumer gets the consumer gets 90% of the CPA within 30 seconds. So we retain 10%.
To spend on the app again, or could they have it back in their bank?
No, that can be back in their bank account within 30 seconds.
Wow.
And that's kind of where we're at, right? We want to kind of, a lot of our marketing is about, trying to help solve the cost of living crisis and allow consumers to, afford to spend things that they really want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So to go back to my chicken and egg point, so you've got to get a lot of consumers on there to entice brands to be on there, but you've also got to get the brands on there to entice the consumers. So it's about building both sets of brands and end users at the same time. So what's your strategy to do that?
Yeah, it's a really good point. So, I mean, we've got a lot of kind of influencers and celebrities that are supporting us at the moment. But
Can you name any apart from myself?
So in the States, we're working with Mr. Beast. We've just got kind of Charlie D'Amelio over there in the States as well.
Don't know who he is, but sounds
big TikTok star.
Right. I'm not. You tell I'm not on TikTok.
This is why we'll come back to TikTok. Okay. And in the UK, we're kind of just finalising a few contracts here, but there'll be influencers of similar ilk.
Okay.
And then we're also working with financial institutions like MasterCard, for example. And then we've got kind of the AA and Mumsnet as well, are two of our other big partnerships. And what we're going to be then doing is a lot of kind of B2B to C approach. So doing co-marketing with people like the AA, driving that to the consumers.
The AA.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So, I mean, what do they put on ChaChing? What I don't need. Do they sell products?
No, so we're using it as more of a marketing play, right?
So the AA.com. Yeah. We're not talking Alcoholics Anonymous. We're talking. We're talking the roadside recovery guys. Have they got like a message board or something?
Yeah, so we'll be partnering in with that, right? Yeah, so we'll be doing kind of co-marketing with them, a lot of above the line activity and things like that. But outside of the B2B partnerships, we're also doing a lot on kind of TV advertising, and we'll be doing kind of more broader influencer strategies as well. So
you've got a great tagline for your TV marketing, which is
it's payback time.
Yeah, absolutely, it certainly is. Yeah, I'm looking for a bit of payback, definitely. Yeah. Like I say, I just see money going straight out my account. It goes off my Amex every single day. Spent another £700.
How many air miles have you got these days?
Do you know, not that many?
Yeah.
Not that many, really. I'm just thinking,
the gold card?
I've got the platinum card.
Oh, right.
Where is my free trip to the Maldives?
Maybe you can get them to sponsor the pod.
Maybe I should, yeah. Let's get someone down from Amex. So, So yes, so I've been on ChaChing. It looks great. And again, the cash was back in straight away within 30 seconds. So
what did you spend it on?
I bought a pair of shoes.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So, and I got £23.6 in return, which was great.
Look at that.
So, so I was delighted with my purchase. And I am going to onboard Elle Sera. Kelly's away for 3 weeks, so I'm very under-resourced at the moment.
Okay. She's
my right-hand woman. But yeah, 100%, I'm going to onboard Elle Sera. And then obviously tell a lot of our customers to start using the app.
Yeah. And what sort of kind of CPA would you put on for Elle Sera? Just for any of your potential customers who'd be interested in that?
Well, let's say, let's £30 would be, top line. Yeah. So 90% of that.
Yeah.
My maths, yours and maths will be better than mine.
27. Yeah.
27.
Yeah.
So potentially customers could earn back £27
for purchasing your
products. Purchasing my products at £50 a month.
Yeah.
How would it work as a subscription business then?
Yeah, so we'd lock that in for the first payment, and then everything else would be incremental. So they wouldn't get £27 every month. It would just be £27
for the first purchase. Yeah.
And if you wanted to increase it, because it is a subscription, then
that would be nice.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice for everyone, I think.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And I'm more than willing to do that, ladies. So so I think there's an education piece to do.
Yeah,
I think from your side, because
definitely.
I tell people and they don't really understand it, and it's just so easy for them to, see an ad, click, learn more, or shop now, or whatever, and go through, the streams themselves. Yeah. Is there going to be a way, because it's still a great, Meta and Google, Instagram, whatever, is still a great way to kind of entice customers with that like great creative strategy. So, I mean, unless you already know about the brand, you're not going to go and search for it on ChaChing, are you? So, is there going to be a way where you could potentially show an ad? Well, I don't know how this would work actually, and then send them through to ChaChing to send them.
Yeah, so we'll obviously be working with a load of influencers, right? The influencers will be posting content on their organic profiles. Doing paid media on the big tech might be a little bit frisky, so we'll see how that one goes. Yeah. But fundamentally, we'll be doing organic content with the influencers on TikTok and on Instagram, driving traffic to the ChaChing app, where a user can then go on to purchase. The plan will be to work with influencers who are already working with some brands. So if you've got some influencers that work,
we actually don't do influencer marketing. I was telling you before.
Oh,
we Elle Sera we do not do influencer marketing.
Come on, that's got to be a call out for somebody to.
Oh, absolutely.
Step up, right?
I'll say that I wanted the brand to stand on its own 2 feet for the first 3 years and become a credible brand. I was not going to pay anybody to say that this is a good product. And do you know what was amazing? I've got friends who are on television, big accounts, some of the Geordie Shore girls who've now gone on to do very big things, Winning the Jungle and whatever. They bought it themselves and they just posted about it because they were like, if you say that this is good, then I know you've got a lot of integrity, Alyssa, then it must be good. So that was great. So I've managed to build a brand for the last 3 years on using people who have got big accounts, big celebrities, and they've done it all off their own back, which has been great.
Yeah. I mean, what if we got some of your existing customers to promote your brand and subsequently installs to ChaChing? I think something like that could be
100%.
Quite an interesting one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and there's a few I would probably have in mind who are great. And we've got like some great customers now, West End stars, TV stars. Again, they buy it. And I'm a bit like, maybe we should be like, using these people, But I think we've come to the stage now where, yes, it's got its own credibility.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe I joined the influencer marketing party. I felt like it was a sellout.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a bit beneath me.
Yeah.
Every week, especially in the first few months where I didn't know what the hell I was doing, I just started this business and I'd broke even in 6 weeks. I was like, wow, this is great. And then I made some awful mistakes, but you only learn the hard way, don't you? But I then used to get calls off these agencies were like, we can get you one of the loose women for $4,000. And I was just like, no, because I don't personally like that person. And I feel like I don't want to pay anyone to say it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then people will be like, oh, well, you've just paid them to say that. Well, and that's what you are doing.
Mm. unfortunately, it's the world we live in.
Well,
right?
it is the world we live in. But so that's why, I mean, we had Samantha Fox on the podcast last week, and she was one of my first ever purchasers. I'd only been going 3 weeks. Probably was done less than 100 sales at that point. And she bought it. She's been a repeat buyer for 3 years. So, you know, that's influencer marketing at its best, surely. Somebody who could become an influencer because they love the product so much.
Exactly.
You know, I think that's the best way to do it. And actually, if I had a look at my customer cohort and people, I think that would make me feel comfortable anyway. Or I just do a round of funding and get Kris Jenner to say it's fucking amazing. Do we just go straight to the top that way? You know what I mean?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
So, but I felt like I've learned a lot in those 3 years without doing it.
Yeah, but and there's definitely synergies between like our user adoption strategy as well, right? We obviously want to tap into kind of some local communities and get kind of organic virality and word of mouth as well, right? Because, you know, a lot of our kind of business is going to be just about educating the market, explaining that you can get this money back within 30 seconds. And, you know, when we did some surveys, right, I think we did some surveys with a load of kind of different local communities, and the surveys came back. We asked, you know, where does Google make its revenue? Where does Facebook make its revenue? And I think 95% of the room in both surveys didn't actually know where they made their money from.
Right.
So it's quite interesting now as we you know begin to kind of go to market and really launch our user acquisition strategy. How there'll be kind of similar synergies between your approach and our approach, I imagine. Yeah,
for sure. So your marketing strategy is you're going to do a TV campaign. You're going to do some like, I don't know, traditional media maybe?
Yeah, we'll do a lot of kind of paid media stuff on different publications and then have quite a strong influencer strategy as well.
I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah, so it's good. And we haven't spoken about TikTok yet. We should have.
No, okay. Yeah. Well, we've got plenty of time.
Are you going to go on TikTok? Or?
So again, I'll tell you why. Maybe I'm a bit up my own arse, right? Because I don't seem to employ the tactics of an e-com brand.
Okay.
And everybody else who I know in e-com, as I'm sure you know too, employs all of these strategies. They do TikTok. I'll tell you why I don't like TikTok. Me personally, I hate it. I think it's making everyone stupid. It's giving kids no attention span, and they're acting like divvies for absolutely no reason. It's just pointless. Can't stand it. Everything's got to be filmed so freaking quick. You can't understand anything. And it's that short form media. This is why I like doing this, because long form media can actually get a point across. Of course, yeah. There's also no community feel over there. I feel like everyone's a bit of an arsehole. So like you've got obviously a long vertical image or video, and then you've got the caption, which is redundant because you can't even see it. It's all about the video and the whatever somebody's saying on there.
I mean, that's a good hook for a TikTok video, I think.
What?
Posting that.
Yeah.
Everyone on here is redundant.
Yeah. Well, the caption's definitely redundant. And then it's very hostile. The comments are hostile because there is no community feel.
Yeah.
There's no kind of like camaraderie. Whereas on Instagram, very much a community feel. You know, we've got real big cheerleaders of the brand. They know me. They know my life. They support the brand. They're great. They really want you to do well. They recommend us. I'm great back with that. You know what I mean? There's a real back and forth there. They tell me about their personal problems, whatever. You don't get all that over on TikTok.
Yeah.
Again, and I'm like, so what is it? It's just brain dead content, in my opinion. So used to work at TikTok.
Yeah. Hostile community, apparently. Yeah. Brain dead content. Yeah. That's definitely the title of the podcast.
Yeah. So you used to work at TikTok. So convince me why I should be getting on there.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what to say there. I think, you know, there's definitely a community for everyone on TikTok, right? I think, I don't know what the recent stats are, but there's probably 25 million, 30 million people on it in the UK now.
What's the demographic though? Are these all kids who are not going to buy my products anyway?
I think the bulk is still 18 to 24, 25 to 34. I haven't seen the recent figures, but
I feel like I'd be again launching money at more tech to not get anything in return, and very high expensive CPAs.
Exactly, but I mean, if there's a community of 30 million people, I'm sure there's at least some people in your demographic. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think TikTok Shop is definitely something that's growing. I've seen a lot of brands, thrive on the TikTok Shop.
I've also seen a lot of brands. The girl next door to me, I have a nightmare with TikTok Shop.
What
She
happened?
has a company called Sleepover Club. Shout out to
Okay.
Olivia.
Oh.
And she obviously sold on TikTok Shop. It was all sent through just like literally like bags and bags and bags of stuff went missing.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
So I was a bit like, whoa, I'm not getting on TikTok Shop.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, personally, yeah, I've heard of quite a few brands kind of doing well.
Give
on
me
the
an
platform.
example.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, we do a lot of work with Debenhams at the moment, and
Okay.
Debenhams are kind of
But
championing.
they've been bought by the Boohoo Group.
Boohoo Group, correct?
So
Yeah.
again,
They're a larger retailer.
well,
yeah.
they are, and they're into fast fashion,
Yeah.
which is completely, and they're into like quick, like we don't care,
Yeah.
high turnover stuff. I'm trying to build like a legacy brand, which is, we're not an impulse purchase. I don't want you to be an impulse purchase. And if we are an impulse purchase, you haven't thought about it, you don't know what we do, you're not going to stay with us for very long. So you're not going to get the full benefit out of the product. And you've literally, if you buy it for like 1-2 months, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Apologies for interrupting this podcast, but I need to ask a favour. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, then please hit that subscribe button right now. I'll be straight up and honest that I want to see this podcast grow and flourish into something that I'm really proud of. And the only way that I can do that is with your help. So if you've ever learned anything useful from these conversations, then please return the favour by liking, rating, subscribing, and maybe even sharing it with your friends. Thanks very much. Let's get back to the episode.
I feel like we're like the opposite of fast fashion in that way.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're not right for TikTok Shop.
Maybe I'm not.
Or maybe
My gut feeling.
Get TikTok Shop on the pod. Maybe they can prove you wrong.
Well, if they work for TikTok, they're obviously going to tell me I'm wrong, aren't they?
Well, they've got a great community up here.
But then, listen, I was just talking to my friend the other day who's just sold his business. Great. Well, he has a cosmetics business. He sold it for a lovely, handsome figure. And their entire strategy was TikTok Shop, influencer marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So outside of ChaChing then, and obviously you're staying clear of TikTok Shop unless anyone
you can convince me.
Unless anyone listening can convince you.
Yeah, but so
I don't work at TikTok anymore.
For somebody who wants to get on TikTok Shop, right? So what do you have to do brand side? Do you have to get to a certain amount of followers before you can get on TikTok Shop?
I actually have no idea.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought it was like you have to get to 1,000 followers.
I think it could be. Yeah.
And then, which I honestly, I don't even put any effort into TikTok, which is why I don't even think we've got 1,000 followers on there.
Wow.
So, but we do have a couple of viral moments.
Yeah.
And then I look at it, I might look at it every 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Once every 4 weeks, that's how much I don't care. And I'm like, oh, our video did well.
So outside of TikTok Shop then, if you're not going to do TikTok Shop, and you are definitely going to do ChaChing, which is great news for us.
100% I'm going to go on ChaChing. And then I'm definitely might look at influencer marketing. And then, so is ChaChing just UK based?
UK is our launch, and then we'll be going over into the US as well. Yeah, so probably end of April we'll head over to the US. We've got a bit of a launch event in New York on the 10th of April. So that'll be kind of a big moment for us going over there. Yeah.
What's the roadmap look like?
Yeah.
Like, what's the ambition for the brand?
Yeah, so we've got around 3 million users pre-launch at the moment in the UK.
So you've not really officially launched yet?
We're soft launching at the moment. With some
sorting out all the tech problems, or
well, I wouldn't say problems.
You know what I mean? Sorting out the teething things,
making the tech better than what it is.
Absolutely, and design. And you think, okay,
of course, yeah. So UK is obviously our primary launch market. We'll then take it over to the States towards the end of April, and then we'll do kind of tier 1 English speaking nations probably by the end of this year, if not early next. And then we'll sort out kind of the other languages. I'm sure there'll be some teething problems there from a tech capacity as well.
For sure. This is obviously great and obviously comes at a price. So how has this piece of technology come about?
Yeah, it's a good point. So the business was actually created around 2 years ago by a guy called Max Shugu. So he's the CEO of the company. He basically came up with the idea because of the exact reasons that we've said, right? The advertising costs are increasing, sellers' profits are diminishing, and as a result of that, the consumer's suffering and ultimately the brand is suffering as well. So we've been in very much kind of R&D development for the last 2 years. We're now directly integrated into Shopify, Magento, EKM, Salesforce Commerce Cloud as well. So that's been kind of very much the hallmark of the last couple of years. We've got around 6,000 brands that we work with now in the UK and about 1,000 in the US. So very much kind of our main kind of aim at the moment is to onboard the brands before we kind of do a large kind of scale launch on TV or with B2B advertising.
Yeah, you want to onboard as many brands as possible because when you do get those users signing up, they want to be able to find the brands that they know and love.
Or it's a waste of ad budget for us as well, right?
Yeah, Charlotte Tilbury. I tell you the one I'm absolutely...
Who would you like on there?
It's Cosmetics.
Okay.
So It's Cosmetics are owned by L'Oreal. I only looked up this today because I was like, I think I found the holy grail of concealer and foundation. I'm getting complimented on my foundation all the time at the moment. So anyway, I found after 38 years and however long purchasing makeup, I found a great products that I absolutely love for me. And so I started looking into the company and it was one of L'Oreal, I think it was L'Oreal's biggest acquisition, 1.2 billion they paid for it. One female owner.
Wow.
Unbelievable story. And I was like, well, yeah, the product doesn't suck. It's amazing. Me personally, I buy that like month after month. So I would like to get It's Cosmetics on there.
Okay. Do you know the owner?
I don't know. She's an American lady and,
wow.
you know, worth 1.2 billion. So,
I thought you might hang out with her in Liverpool, yeah?
So, yeah, that would be great. I think Forbes named her like 30 most influential women in the world.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so she's a big deal. But it's owned by L'Oreal now. So, you know, you need to be pitching into L'Oreal.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we're speaking...
And then you get all of their brands on.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we're speaking with them by the media agency.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I anticipate that we'll see... you know, a big uplift with some of these bigger brands as well.
Yeah. Who else? I'm thinking, where do I buy from regularly?
Who would you not want on there?
Who would I not want on there? Like all of my competitors. Happy Mammoth can fuck off. No, all of our customers say, well, how are you different to Happy Mammoth? I'm like, well, one, we put less ingredients in at a better dosage. And two, we use better ingredients for a start. And three, we're much better. Cheaper, better customer service. I'm literally sat here taking the time to message you back all these things.
Yeah. No, excellent. Okay.
But again, that's an education piece within itself. Yeah. So, okay. So it's just going to be D2C brands.
To start with, yeah, D2C brands, yeah.
Could you envisage the brand that's going into anything else?
I think so. I think we'll probably look at like digital products and things like that, like broadband and TV.
Oh, really?
And subscription packages like that.
I mean, that would be wonderful.
Exactly, yeah.
Imagine you getting your gas and lecky bill back.
Yeah, I think we will start to diversify, but to start with, you know, we're very much focused on
tangible products.
Yeah, apparel, footwear, consumer electronics, anything kind of household related.
Gardening products.
Yeah.
I'm just getting into gardening.
Oh, yeah.
At the moment, I've just bought a house about 6 months ago, and it's got a massive garden. So I've got this gardener, and I was like, I don't want you to do the garden. I do, but I also want you to be like a personal trainer. Gardener, so teach me what I'm doing.
Okay, yeah.
So
player coach sort of vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it comes with a greenhouse and everything. So getting that all cleaned up. But
we need to get some gardening products on.
That's what I mean.
Of course,
so
yeah.
I went on Amazon last night. I've got a basket full of seeds, gardening equipment, all of that. And then I was like, whoa, hang on. Should go on ChaChing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the tools we're building in-house is like a shopping concierge. So you're able to basically suggest to the app like what products you'd like on there.
Yeah.
We then obviously, that then feeds back into our teams internally, and then we, you know, go out to market and speak to our agencies or brand partners and say, hey, we've had this many requests for these products. Try and get them on by the end of the week.
Yeah.
So obviously, if anybody's got garden products who's listening, give me a shout and we can get them on. But I think another interesting thing that we're doing is we've actually got a price comparison check on the app now as well. So going back to the example of a white pair of trainers, if you search for a white pair of trainers and you click on the Nike product, you can then redirect it to the Google search engine and see how that price is comparing in relation to Google. For context, we don't list anything on ChaChing that is higher on Google or Amazon. So it'll be the cheapest place in the market to purchase that product. So that's another kind of cool USP of the brand. Yeah,
it sounds great. So how did you get involved in ChaChing? let's talk about you personally in your career. So you were at TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay, so in fact, give me the 411 on Joel Williams.
Whoa, okay.
Where did you start?
Yeah, all right, okay. So I'm originally from a small town in Wales called Llandovery.
Right.
I actually drove up from Llandovery today.
How long did that take you?
About 3.5 hours.
Well
Went
worth it.
Straight through South Wales, through Mid Wales, past Wrexham, popped into Wrexham just to see what was going on there. I feel like there's a lot of hype over there at the moment.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Oh, well, because of environmentals.
Yeah, all of those guys. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So popped in there and then, arrived in Liverpool. But originally from a town called Llandovery, very small, 2,000 people. Don't really know how I've ended up in digital marketing, but
Right.
here we are. And then, kind of went off to kind of Cardiff University. Interestingly, studied. I actually got into university to study religious studies, and I'm not at all
Wow.
religious, right?
What was the pull for that then?
I either got into Cardiff University or Bristol
Right.
UE, so the not the main one. And my head of sixth form at the time said, "Oh, hey, just whatever you do, just try and get into Cardiff over Bristol
Yeah.
UE." No offense to Bristol UE, if anyone's ever been there, but so anyway, I got into Cardiff University, studied religious studies, and within kind of a couple of months, I realised, okay, if I play the system well, I can
You just move courses.
I can move courses. So I moved directly in second year into politics and international relations, and then graduated, after 3 years, politics and international relations, got a classic 2-2. So, don't worry about getting a Desmond. It's all cool. And interestingly, I don't have a science GCSE, but I graduated as a Bachelor of Science, which was
Right.
quite a nice, funny one. And then anyway, so
Just tells me that a degree is not worth the paper it's printed on.
I
these days.
agree, totally
I've
agree.
got two, and
Oh, what did you do?
I did English and history,
2 degrees.
and English and history, and then I went on to do a master's in journalism.
Wow. Was
So-
that in Liverpool?
I went to Liverpool, and then I went to
Bristol UE.
UCLan. I went to UCLan to do the journalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So again, not one, and I did all my NCTJs for journalism. Getting a newsroom for the first day, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They're like, go and get that story. They don't
Yeah.
even care if you can do shorthand. I'm there at 100
I mean,
words
at
a minute.
least you used a degree.
Well-
Politics. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing.
I've never used my English and history really,
Yeah.
apart from on the University Challenge. But
Yeah.
no one's ever asked me for it anyway. So yeah, and I'm not in that industry at all anymore.
Yeah.
So there
Would you
go.
ever go back to it?
Yeah, I always think about going back to it. I always think about going, oh, well, maybe I would do like nutritional science or something like that. And I actually live on the back of a university now.
Okay.
So where I live in Ormskirk, there's Edge University. So I was
Yeah.
looking at like what courses I could do.
Mm.
And there wasn't one that I wanted to do. And I was like, oh, that's a shame, because I could have just like nipped around the corner, gone to night school, even if it
Yeah.
took like 3-4 years or something, that would have been nice. But then I thought, well,
What's the point?
what's the point? Who cares? And I'm not the expert in this business. Yes, I know a bit about it. The more I learn, the more I don't realize I don't know. Tej Lavani owns Vitabiotics, the biggest supplement company, one of them in the
Yeah.
world. He doesn't know anything about supplements,
Yeah,
clearly,
yeah.
because of the products he makes.
Yeah.
But again, I'm the facilitator.
Yeah.
I employ a lot of people more intelligent than me to direct me.
Yeah.
I've got a great team in some labs. I've got people that I use to help me come up with formulations, and experts in the field. And that's great. I'm the one, the heart, the soul, the
It's a great
founder,
story.
the one
Yeah.
driving it. But of course, I employ other skill sets.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So how did you form the brand, and how did that kind of come back?
So I went, I used to be in health retreats. So I was a journalist.
Yeah.
And while I used to write tripe for tabloids, I
Yeah.
used to be really interested in health, wellness and nutrition. I also liked a lot of like free holidays and stuff.
Okay.
So I used to go on a lot of health retreats and then write about them for that retreat. Obviously give them favourable reviews, because that's what journalism is, essentially. So yeah, I always think it makes me laugh, journalists are all about seeking the truth until it comes to like a holiday package, and then they'll say this is amazing because they get a free holiday. So anyway, so I used to write about health retreats all the time. And I'm sat there looking at guys who are like ex-Marines, hate their life because they're now, training 40, 50-year-old women in a field in Norfolk, making them do burpees up and down, basically making out that they're fat and lazy and they're overeating. That might be the case in some issues. But when you get to 40, 50, you start hitting the menopause and your hormones are going crazy. And I used to really like look at these guys. I'm like, listen, she's she can't push it like I can, who was like 27 at the time.
Yeah.
And they weren't taking into these things into account. They'd never even heard of menopause or hormonal issues or anything. So along the way, I actually met a couple of standout people, and I decided to make my own retreat, which we would form around education.
Okay.
So hormonal health and things like that. So I just learned a lot from the people that I employed, basically. Set up a retreat. It was really great. Couple of issues with a couple of members of staff. That's another story for another day. But COVID hit, and I was like, oh, fuck's sake. I remember having to like refund loads of people for our up and coming retreats, and I was like, oh my God, COVID ruined everything, didn't it? But what I did see was, I remember looking on the stock market every day. Boohoo was flying, Zoom was flying, tech was flying, ecom was flying. I thought, oh, this is the last.
Get in the game.
I need to get in the game.
Yeah.
How can I still support my ladies? While I'm not there in person, I can't see them on a retreat. And it was one lady who messaged me and she said, what can I do for my libido, Alyssa? And I said, you could take this, this and this. And she had to buy 5 different products at the time. But she came back to me after like 6 weeks and was like, wow, that is amazing.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, and she would have been the last person I would have thought of who would be asking me about libido.
Yeah.
The last person. And I was like, wow, maybe this is a bigger issue than I thought it was.
So she's going to be your influencer then, surely.
She actually doesn't know that she is the one who like was the catalyst.
We'll sign her then.
Yeah,
if not. Yeah,
so
that's fine. Yeah.
Shout out to Debs.
Debs.
I then I thought maybe I'd bring this product to market. And again, a lot of people start supplement brands with a range. They make magnesium, vitamin D, whatever. They start with like 25 different products. And everyone was like, you can't start a brand with one product. I was like, yes, you can. And I'm going to. And then obviously I'd done Bear Grylls. So the whole sustainability aspect of the brand was running through me. That's why everything is fully recyclable, sustainable. We have a brass refill, stuff like that.
Classic ESG.
ESG all over it. So it was great. That's how I launched the brand. So, and then I called upon my journalistic talents. I wrote a piece calling it a female Viagra.
All right.
That was in the Daily Mail, and we broke even within 6 weeks.
Class.
Yeah.
Great news.
So, and then like I said, the rest is history, really. Selfridges ran me after about 3 months. And then we've just gone from strength to strength, really. So it's been great, but I think we're ready now for a bit of new product development. Yeah. I'm thinking of products all the time. Yeah. And I mean, you have to like hold me back from making stuff.
Yeah.
I was in a dispute with Elle magazine for 2.5 years. So I've only been going for 3. For 2.5 of those, I've been in a trademark dispute. So I couldn't put my name on anything else because I was like, I might have to change my name.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I nearly did. Nearly listened to my solicitor and my own father who was saying, change your name. I was like, no. And it was only when I'd gone through such a traumatic birth, 48 hours in labour, I just looked at this little girl, I thought, they can fuck off. Like, there is no way I am going to roll over and change my name. Yeah. I've worked too hard for this. And why, so that was it. I was about to sign the document, which would have changed the brand into Elle Sera, all one word. But regardless, even though it would have been still Elle Sera, I would have had to change every single piece of branding. So it would have had to go on one line. Yeah. Everything, every packet, every mold that I've ever made.
Why was that? How did that all come about? The change?
Elle magazine. They make a magazine, for God's sake.
They came at you?
Yeah. Oh. £16,500 I've spent on that.
Christ.
Just to defend my position. Anyway, whatever. Yeah. The gloves are off now. So, so that was it. So now I can do a bit of new product development because now I actually do have the trademark.
Very good.
Which is great.
And what are you going to build? What's the plans?
A new product again, which will help so there's another issue that apart from libido and hormonal imbalances, there's another big issue that our customers come at me with. And I'm like, okay, I know what we can do for this. And I'm working with an amazing lab in the UK made. I always make sure that the quality is there in the product. We do we make it in a pharmaceutical grade room. It's tested within an inch's life. I mean, even the raw ingredients, wherever we buy it from all over the world, when it leaves their factory, it gets tested. When it comes into where we get it made, it gets tested along the way.
Yeah.
The net label claims, it gets third-party tested. We test it for heavy metals. So the quality is really there. So I'm working with a new lab now, which is, it's going to be a liquid product. But it's very, very cool.
Nice.
I'm actually trialing it myself right now.
Yeah.
So I've got this little potion sat next to on my desk.
Very cool.
Yeah.
No, excellent.
I just need a lot of money. So, I mean, you'll know.
Is this your investment call?
Yeah. Hi, guys. So this is the thing. And you could tell me, Joel, because you've obviously raised a lot of money within ChaChing. How much have you raised by now?
I don't know if I can disclose.
Okay.
But, yeah.
A lot.
Nah, not a lot, but some. Yeah.
Okay. So like I'm seeing other brands, they launch a lot of their products with big rounds of investments. Yeah. I didn't. I started my brand with everything I had personally.
Yeah.
I got a personal loan and put everything into it. And luckily we've been profitable that I can keep throwing that back in.
That seems to happen quite a lot up here, right? In Liverpool.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of brands up north.
Yeah, a lot of brands up north. A lot of my friends who own brands, they don't give a shit about investment.
Yeah.
They don't want the investment. They don't need it.
Yeah.
And so when I talk to the brands in London, they're all, I want to start a brand and I need 500 grand to start it. And they just go do the rounds and try and get loads of funding. And I'm like,
classic London.
It's classic London.
Yeah.
Whereas up north I need to start a business. They'll start it on a shoestring and then they'll make it a success. Then they might go out and get investment.
Mm.
I don't know which camp I'm in. I truly, in my heart of hearts, I'm in the northern way of doing things. Be profitable, get steady, build it, build a really nice business for yourself. Yeah. And then if you want to go to exit, you want to get investment, you've really built a great business with some great customer data, value in it, instead of just like, I don't know, what seems to be a fucking Ponzi scheme to me, which is just let's leather.
Well, it's kind of calmed down a bit now, isn't it?
Let's leather the internet with ads and force it in front of people's eyeballs so much that they buy it, even though the product might not be great.
I mean, one of my roles when I was at TikTok was leading kind of a venture capital strategy, which was partnering TikTok with businesses that had just had VC funding, looking at kind of the go-to-market strategy on TikTok and things like that. And it was an interesting time, right? Because TikTok was booming. Obviously, e-commerce was booming, and there are a lot of brands. Yeah, but it
was. I mean, COVID was its own bubble in itself, of course, because e-com was absolutely booming. So if you had success in that, if you'd started a business pre-COVID, right? Let's say 2017, 18, 19 even. You then go and you're an e-com business. You probably would have had like good, bump along, and then COVID hits. I would imagine you see big scale.
Oh, of course,
yeah. And then everyone's value of the business has gone through the roof. Investors are going, have my money. There you go. And now it's all calmed down. And that's where I'm at. I kind of started in COVID. So we had good success. But now we're still a sustainable business, which is great.
I don't know why it was never that way all along. Like profit-driven businesses should really be exactly what everybody's looking to achieve, right? And that's basically what we're doing at ChaChing is, empowering the brand to have the ability to control their profit and control their margin. And that's kind of what we stand for.
Well, it's needed because, I know brands, London-based brands, who...
Any names?
No, you'll know who they are. But they don't care if their cost per acquisition is out of control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't they would have it at 150, and I'm just like, I just don't know how you can run a business like that. Not only would it terrify me, but also I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I really wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I'd be like, how can we're going to run out of money. And then what? Do another round of funding. So we might as well just burn it or just go, there you go, Meta, let's have it. That funding I've done, it's yours.
What else would you do then? Would you do anything else kind of like in a creative way with any of your existing customers?
Yeah, me personally, I've got loads of ideas to empower the customer. Okay, so I like to we've got a real community feel and I really want to take that a bit further now with our customers. I want to get to know them. They want to, they've made great friendships within themselves. Do you know what I mean? Oh, the only thing they had in common was buying the product, but then they meet up for coffee, they stay in touch with each other. It's great. I want to do more of that. So in-person events, I want to do a couple of challenges, whether it's like climb Snowdon or something like that. You know, let's get a group of our ladies
do you do
together.
any like partnerships with like coffee mornings and things like that? Or?
No, again, but maybe we could do. I want to do a couple of meetups, maybe like one in Manchester, one in London this summer, you know, and
just don't let the investors into London, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Keep them
But and then again, some new product development towards the end of the year, I think, just before Christmas, maybe, if I can get it out in that time. Obviously, you know, we're very under-resourced over at Elle Sera. But so yeah, I mean, I had my idea for it with it, I think. And then even the next day, I had a call straight away with this lab. They're already on with making it. I move quick when I want something to go.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking, I really need to put a great marketing plan behind this, you know, because I know it's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, any scientist could pull this product apart and it would stand on its own as being great. So, you know, when I've got real confidence in a product, you like, let's just go to town with it. So I feel like
how are you kind of like forecasting that growth at the moment? Is it kind of imbalanced, difficult to
put my finger in the air, Joel? And there, hope for the best.
Yeah.
So I have a bit of tech in the background. You'll know what these are. So I have triple whale.
Okay, classic.
But that doesn't really tell me any forecasting. It just tells me what we're doing and how bad my figures are, or how much, you know, where my customers are coming from, things like that. But Viable is a great tech platform. So I'll tell everyone about Viable because I think it's fantastic. So Viable, and anyone who's in e-com should onboard this bit of tech. So if you've got Shopify and you haven't got Viable, please get
Any
it.
referral codes at the bottom?
Oh, I'll try and get one for you because it's incredible. So Viable reads all my historical data. It then plugs into my Shopify, gives me a breakdown. So every morning I get a report and it'll give me like what my performance is this month compared to last month, compared to this point in last year. It's incredible. Then it forecasts all my figures for the next 13 weeks. So, and you can put all your purchase orders in there. So if I know, okay, I've got to buy some more stock in, you know, April. I can put my purchase order in there. It knows that at that point in April, I'm going to have like, you know, less cash in the bank. But, you know, in the next 3 months, over the next 13 weeks, you're going to have cash flow again. And what it's enabled me to do is actually hold off on thinking about investors because I can look at my forecast, my figures.
See that profitability.
And go, no, just hold off right now. Because you know, in the next few weeks, you're going to be back, you know, the bank balance is going to be back up there again. So we don't really need to have a chunk of money coming in. And I honestly get money thrown, like people trying to throw money at me all the time. You should see the people who come out of the woodwork, like on LinkedIn. I'm a bit like, go away. I didn't like you when I was 20 and I certainly don't like you now. You know what I mean? These creepazoids who are trying to, you know, oh, go away. I can't stand them.
So you're not a fan of LinkedIn though?
I think it's a bit cringe over there. It's like
I wish I didn't have to do it.
It's corporate sleazes, I find.
Why are you looking at me like that?
So I don't know. Maybe it's being a female on there, but I find there's a lot of like, you know, people who are like, let's go for a coffee and chat shit about business, but actually they don't. They just want to go for a coffee, and I'm a bit like,
have you experienced a bit of that? Or?
Well, I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so I don't really do the LinkedIn thing at all. Very rarely go on there. In fact, I used to have my personal assistant run it for me because I didn't even bother with it. I'm getting a bit more into it now, just from a personal brand perspective. So there's that. But then I've got Shopify Capital who offer me money every day. PayPal Capital who offer me money every day. But the payback terms are ridiculous. The APR is ridiculous. I'm just like, no, I don't need it. So I don't want to take any more funding on just that, unless it was a significant amount of money and I could just go, right, there's a new product, let's go to town.
Have you got a figure in mind?
The world's your oyster. No, I would accept. No, probably. What would I accept? Good question. Maybe like 500,000.
That's a good number.
It's not. an outrageous figure. It's not an outrageous figure either. People listening to this podcast might think, are you fucking dreaming? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in this world, that's not actually a big number.
No. You could do a lot with 500,000.
I could do a lot. With a product that's genuinely good, that I could get a team of scientists to stand behind it and go, this is fucking genuinely good.
Yeah.
Right? Me driving the ship.
Yeah.
And then on board and maybe some influencers who are credible. I'm not just talking your Love Island lot. I'm talking about, I've got a guy in mind who's like, I might put him on my wall as like my hero, like influencer. Yeah. I mean, call me crazy, but I'd like to meet him and I think he'd like to meet me too. Why not? He just doesn't know about me yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I've got to come from. That kind of confidence has got to come out.
Who is it?
He's actually a Scouser as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He lives in America though. I'll tell you who he is.
Okay.
After the pod.
Okay.
But yeah. So
excellent.
he's going to go on my notice board and work.
Yeah. Very good.
So, Joel, all my customers are going to want to sign up with ChaChing. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Great question. So you can go to the App Store. So we're on Google Play and iOS. Type in ChaChing. Well, I hope we should be the first thing that comes up. Go in, sign up, make an account. Takes about a minute to make an account, and just browse for whatever you
want.
Yeah.
Gardening equipment for me tonight.
Gardening equipment, of course.
Yeah, can't wait. Brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Joel, for making the trek from South Wales
and London.
I wasn't even going to repeat where you've come from, mate.
Try it.
I can't. The only word I know in Welsh is probably come.
It's double S. Slow that.
No way.
Try
God.
it. Nah.
So thank you so much for coming up. It's been great to chat to you.
You too.
And I'm sure I'll see you again soon.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Cheers.